There's a particular kind of pain that nobody prepares you for. The kind you feel embarrassed to admit because technically nothing bad has happened to you. Nobody died, nobody betrayed you, nobody took anything away from you. And yet somehow your heart still hurts because someone else received the very thing you have been praying for: the husband, the baby, the promotion, the ministry, the healing, the opportunity, the life you genuinely believed you would have by now. And before I go any further, I want you to know something, right? If you've ever felt this way, I don't want you to click away from this video because I think we've been mislabeling this experience for a very long time. And I think what you are carrying may not be what you've been told it is. Maybe you've become very good at celebrating people, right? You comment under the engagement pictures, you attend the weddings, you buy thoughtful baby shower gifts, you repost the business lunches, you mean every word when you say, I'm so happy for you, because you are. But then you get into your car, you get home afterwards, you close your door and you're all alone. You lie awake at night and suddenly the tears are coming down your face from a place you can't explain. And you start questioning yourself like, am I jealous? Am I selfish? Am I a bad person? Does this mean I don't trust God? And you see, as a psychotherapy student and as a woman who has sat with many, many women through seasons of waiting, I think we need a more compassionate understanding of what's happening here. Because psychology teaches us something important, right? Which is that human beings are capable of holding two seemingly opposite emotions at the same time. We can love someone and be angry with them. We can be grateful and still be exhausted. We can trust God and still have questions. And we can absolutely be happy for someone while grieving for ourselves. Now, the problem is that we often interpret emotional pain as moral failure, especially as women, especially in faith spaces. If another person's blessing hurts us, we assume something must be wrong with our hearts. But what if it isn't jealousy? What if it's grief? When most people think about grief, right, they think about death. But grief is much bigger than that. Psychologists have long recognized what is called ambiguous loss, right? Loss that exists without closure, loss that people cannot always see, loss that doesn't come with a funeral. The relationship you hoped would work, the child you thought you would have by now, the career path that never opened, the version of your life you imagined when you were 25. Those losses matter, and because nobody acknowledges them, they often become disenfranchised grief. Grief that society doesn't recognize as legitimate. The kind of grief people expect you to get over quickly because technically nothing happened. But something did happen. The future you imagined collided with the reality you're living. And that collision hurts. I think some of the loneliest women in the world are not the women who have stopped hoping. They are the women who are still hoping while pretending they aren't hurting. The women who smile beautifully in photographs while quietly wondering, when will it be my turn? The woman sitting at another baby shower after another negative pregnancy test. The woman attending another wedding while wondering if marriage will ever happen for her. The woman encouraging everyone else's dreams while her own business plan has remained untouched in a notebook. Why? Because of fear, because of finances, and responsibilities have all taken turns standing in the way. Waiting carries grief, and if you've never given yourself permission to admit that, I want to give you that permission today, right now. One of the things I appreciate about scripture is that, you see, it doesn't sanitize women's experiences. Hannah didn't say, I'm fine. She wept so deeply that people misunderstood what they were seeing. We have Sarah who laughed. Why? Because the promise had stretched beyond what felt reasonable. Or should we talk about Rachel, who cried out from a place of desperation? You see, these women were not faithless, they were honest, and honesty has never frightened God. I think sometimes we've confused faith with emotional suppression, as though trusting God means never feeling disappointed, never feeling confused, never grieving. But the Psalms themselves are filled with lament. People bringing their unfiltered emotions before God, not because they lacked faith, but because relationship requires honesty. So please, if you've been feeling guilty because someone else's miracle has highlighted your own waiting, I want you to hear me carefully. You are not failing. You are not ungrateful. You are not a bad person or a Christian. And you are not secretly a terrible person. You may simply be grieving, and grief deserves compassion, including yours. So, what do we do with this? First, tell yourself the truth. Instead of saying, I shouldn't feel this way, try saying, I am genuinely happy for her, but I am hurting too. Both can exist. Second, stop assigning morality to every difficult emotion. An emotion is information, not identity. Feeling sadness does not make you bitter. Feeling disappointment does not mean you have no faith. Your emotions are invitations to pay attention, not evidence that you have failed. And finally, please take the whole truth of your experience to God, not the edited version, not the church appropriate version, the real version, the one that says, I trust you, but I'm tired, Lord. I believe you, but I don't understand this waiting anymore. I'm grateful, but this still hurts. Because if God could handle Hannah's tears, he can handle yours too. So if today you are watching someone else live the life you've been praying for, I want you to know this. Your pain doesn't make you petty. Your waiting doesn't make you forgotten. And your grief doesn't cancel your faith. You are simply human, a human being carrying hope and heartbreak in the same hands. And perhaps that is what waiting often looks like. Not certainty, not constant positivity, but choosing to keep showing up with an open heart, even when the answer hasn't arrived yet. If this resonated with you, please leave a heart in the comments. No explanation, no long stories, just a quiet way of saying, me too. Because I suspect there are far more women carrying this kind of grief than we realize. And maybe the first step towards healing is discovering that you were never alone in it. And to every woman who is still waiting, I hope you remember this. Your life is not behind, your story is not over, and waiting has never been proof that God has forgotten your name. There is still goodness ahead, even here, even now, even in the waiting.